mind. Hi, Robin. Michael here in RTE. How are you?
Hi, Michael.
Um, we First of all, how is Tadhg Furlong? Was he on the bench against Glasgow and didn't come on, or how did he pick up that injury, please?
Yeah, he was. It just tightened up during the game, so it wasn't worth risking him really. And in fairness, I thought Thomas Clarkson was excellent in that game, so it was great. So there was no need to put him at risk. But yeah, it's nothing massively serious. So we'll just keep monitoring it and see how he progresses with it.
Do you think is it one of those injuries that if it had been a final this weekend he could make it, or maybe people like reassurance about his lines prospects as well?
Yeah, I'm not a physio, and obviously it's Ty's calf at the end of the day, so it's only him that'll be able to answer that question, really. Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as you're concerned, it's just minor injury, and it should be available, to end of the season and summer.
Yeah, that's right.
Very good. And we were just talking to James there, and it's a common thing to hear Leinster talking about taking their learnings. There's a proposition about maybe taking decision making away from the players on the field in the white heat battle about kicking, whether the crowd's on their back, maybe the captain is off, maybe there's a couple of leaders there, about putting that responsibility onto the coach's box about decisions to kick to the corner, kick for penalties. He was kind of up for it. Has that been spoken about by Leinster for the rest of the season about who's going to take those decisions?
Yeah, ultimately it's up to the players, and whatever the players decide, it's a reflection on how they've been prepared in the week and the conversations they've had with coaches. So it's we're all in it together at the end of the day, and if the players feel that they've got a sniff of a try or whatever, then as coaches we'll back them. So in this day and age, it's very hard to get any messages onto the field anyway. So unless there's a stoppage in play, so it really is on your alignment during the week between coaches and players, so that whatever decision they make it the right one. Towards the end of the game there, I think any number of options available, but whatever you choose for, ultimately you've got to do it well. And if you don't do it well enough, then it's not going to pay off.
I guess that's the infield decisions, and that's up to the players at the moment, as you say. In terms of overall tactics about these knockout cup games, is there a decision made to take 3, 6, 9 and treat them like we've seen teams treat knockout games? Is that an overall tactic that maybe we'll see from Leinster for the rest of the URC?
Well, it's knockout, isn't it? It's the season's there's only 1 week left in the season, unless we win, and then we get an opportunity to go again. And if we're fortunate enough and good enough, we'll get another week. So, but it's knockout rugby, as you say. It's and if you don't win on the weekend, then you're out of the competition. So, you've got to build scoreboard pressure, and if that means taking points when they're on offer, then so be it. But it's a different mindset. I mean, you're not going to win anything by scoring 5 tries any longer. It's all about being better than your opposite team on the day, and if any which way, so long as the scoreboard's in your favour at the end of 80 minutes, just win.
Did you watch the Champions Cup final?
I did, yeah.
Thoughts?
Mostly when I watch a game of rugby, I can't switch off. I watch it through a coach's eye. But for whatever reason, I was able to just sit back and just watch it as a spectator on the weekend. And the nature of the scoreline, the ebb and flow, so that was interesting to watch. And obviously the fact that we played Northampton recently, you obviously had one eye on them to see how they'd adapted their game or changed things, etc. But yeah, I was able to look at it, as a supporter or as a neutral really, and listen, it looked to be a good occasion. I think the stadium in Cardiff naturally lends itself to that anyway. It's a great stadium with the roof closed, so that adds a lot to the atmosphere, etc. And listen, it could have gone either way, couldn't it? I think Bordeaux were good value for money in the second half. They sort of shut up shop and put them under quite a bit of pressure. But that's about as much as I looked at the game, really.
Yeah, last one for me. Leo spoke about the maybe still having a hangover before the Glasgow match. He mentioned maybe that the Hampton Saints defeat is still somewhere in the system. Do you think it's almost flushed out of the system now? And do you think it can be, even if you pick up the title?
Well, if we can pick up a title, it'll be a step in the right direction. Listen, it's one game at a time, and we've spoken about it as players, as coaches. Was our mindset in the right frame of mind going into that Northampton game? Did we think that we had just a right to be in the final? I don't know, but it's one game at a time, and if we can be good enough on the weekend and beat what is a very cohesive Scarlets team, then we'll end up reaching the same stage as we have done in the last 3 seasons. So it'll give us an opportunity to go a step further. But that's about it. I mean, you can't take anything for granted, and it's all on the day. The Scarlets, they're on a bit of a winning streak. They're 4 out of 5 games. Like I said, they're very cohesive as a team. You look at the consistency of their selection. So there's an understanding between them as players, and as we've seen in the past, teams when they come to play against Leinster in the Aviva, they raise the game, so they'll be even better, and they'll be a tougher nut to crack on the weekend. So we're going to have to just take care of our own business and make sure we're learning those lessons and learn them quickly.
Thanks very much for your time, Robin. All the best.
Thank you.
Hi, Robin. How's it going? Michael here for breaking news.
Oh, sorry. Michael, yeah.
Just like on Scarlets, like getting to the knockout stages and what has been like a difficult year for Welsh rugby in general, and they've shown before like they've tried when they're the underdogs in big games. Does that make them all the more dangerous opposition going into the weekend?
It does. I mean, I'm not sure if they're in the camp where they've got nothing to lose and they throw the kitchen sink at it. If it is, it makes them a lot more of a dangerous team. They're at a stage now of the season where, winner takes all. They've recently come back from a South African tour. And when you spend that much time together and you come out on top, it generally, tightens you as a unit, as a group. And, I don't know I don't read the press, so I don't know what the fixture's being built up as. I can only imagine, really. But that's fuel for them to come here and to prove a point. As you say, it's been a difficult year for Welsh rugby, so everybody's looking for some sort of shining light at the end of what has been a difficult season. The Scarlets, I'm sure they'll turn up and they'll fancy their chances, and there'll be a stern test for us.
There was some great clashes between Leinster. They looked at 2017-2019 period, URC finals, semi-finals, and even Champions Cup semi-finals. How great would it be for the sport to get Welsh teams back to that level again and have them really thriving?
Well, speaking as a Welshman, it'd be great. You want to be growing the game, and if your national team and your regional teams, if they're going well, then that breeds everything that feeds into the system, gets everybody talking positively about the sport. It increases the numbers that are taking part in it, etc. So you attract the crowds, and you see everybody having a good time, turning up to have a good experience, etc. So it'd be great from speaking as a Welshman anyway. It'd be great to see the four regions doing well and feeding into a national team that hopefully will get back to where it was once before.
Thanks, Robin. Best of the weekend.
Thank you.
Robin, I'll come in there. it's something that Finn Smith spoke about in the lead into the semi-final, and that was that Northampton had to come and play almost with an abandon. It was exactly how Scarlets had beaten you the week before. Is that something that you've looked at, and how do you safeguard against that? You touched on it to a degree that teams really up their game when they come to play Leinster. What do you do to kind of stop that?
Well, we can't look any further than the basics, really. We've got to get the basics of our game right, whether it's set piece, whether it's contact area. Teams are going to fight that much harder. And teams change the game, they adapt their games as well. I mean, we saw a Glasgow team that we played against in the quarterfinal of the Champions Cup, and the team we faced 2 weeks following that in the URC, they were just completely different tactics employed by a Glasgow team. So, you've got to have that in the back of your mind, and that teams will adapt their game and try and target where they perceive a weakness. And as we've seen, you mentioned Northampton there. Well, on the Scarlets, we lost both those games. So we're working on to shore up some of the deficiencies as we see them in our game in order that it doesn't happen again. But sometimes you've got to give credit to these teams as well, that they're able to target certain things, and it just hits home that we've got to do our work a lot better, and that's everybody, players, coaches alike. We've just got to make sure that we step up and don't take anything for granted.
I'm not expecting you to give the game away, but would there be one or two particular areas that you feel you really need to improve on?
Yeah, there would be.
You're not going to tell us, are you?
Well, I don't need to really. I mean, anybody who's been watching those last couple of games, yeah. It's hard to be as honest as I want to be without pointing the finger or suggesting that other areas, everybody across the board has looked at themselves following the Northampton defeat in particular. Do you know what I mean? And that's players and coaches alike. And, we've had a couple of good sessions where there's been honest feedback of where we can improve, etc. So the URC Quarterfinal gives us another opportunity to show that we can do that on the knockout phase of a competition. Because in the last 3 seasons, up to this point of the year, we've been pretty good, and we've fallen short again in the Champions Cup. So we need to hopefully go a step further this season, but we can't look any further than the next game, and that's a very cohesive, strong Scarlets team coming here to prove a point. So we're going to have to be better than what we were this time on Saturday.
Fair enough. Robin, thanks a million for your time, and go well at the weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, guys. That's all the time we have. We'll send on the video.